Mark Kimmitt. He's a former Deputy Assistant U.S. Secretary of Defense. Welcome to our studio once again. Now, under a potential Biden administration, do you think the U.S. would be tougher on Russia? And do you think that the U.S. could possibly put sanctions on Turkey?
Yeah, I really do think that a Biden administration will look to be tougher. There has been this view that President Trump is, in fact, Putin's poodle, and there is some evidence to back up that we have let a number of Soviet aggressive activities move forward, such as we've seen in Ukraine and elsewhere. President Biden would, in fact, get tougher. He's an old-time Sovietologist. He understands what it's like to deal with Russia. So it would be a little bit tougher, and there would be some collateral effects on countries such as Turkey. The CAATSA sanctions, which have been threatened by the United States, which have been approved by Congress, but not signed by President Trump because of the use of the S-400 systems made by Russia and with all indications can be read by Russia. I think that President Biden would send any documents sent to him by the Congress on CAATSA, he would sign those sanctions.
Interesting. Now, let's talk about the U.S. and China. Do you think a Biden presidency would be tougher on China than the Trump one?
Well, in fact, Vice President Biden has said he will be. He has said that he will send 6 of the 12 American U.S. aircraft carriers to the South China Sea and that area, primarily to send a very clear signal militarily to China that their expansionist policies in that region have got to slow down. He has said that if the Chinese were to put military troops inside of Hong Kong, he would take action against that. He's been very, very severe on his threats regarding trade relationships. He said we need to rebuild that alliance between Japan, Korea, and Australia to offset and to stand up to China and its economic aggression, its intellectual property theft in many ways. So, yeah, I think he's going to be tough on China, and he's going to try to hold the line on China to where it is today and not let it expand.
And we know, we've seen the photo opportunities, we've covered the press conferences with, President Trump and his relationships with world leaders such as Putin, Xi Jinping, Kim Jong-un.
Yep.
Do you think there would be the same type of close relationships under a Biden presidency?
I think the Biden presidency would be one in where our country would have a relationship with another country. Our president wouldn't be have the sole responsibility of dealing with that country through the other president or dictator or whatever form of government they have. So, as many have said, President Trump has run a very personal type of diplomacy, which starts and ends with his relationship with the foreign leader, and the entire State Department, Department of Defense, Department of Treasury just fall in line behind that. I see President Biden as being more collegial. I see listening more to his secretaries of state, treasury, so on and so forth, and not expecting that the diplomacy of the United States is run exclusively by the president, but by his administration.
And given that, do you have an idea at this stage of who would be on a Biden foreign policy team?
Oh, his foreign policy team is well known now. He's set up foreign policy subcommittees that are that have helped him prepare his platform. And you would recognize these names if you've dealt with the Obama administration and a potential Clinton administration. These are names such as Jake Sullivan, Nick Burns, Michelle Flournoy. These are old Washington hands that know their way around the system.
And given what you're saying now, a lot of our international audience may be thinking, is this an Obama third term?
That's a good question. I think President Biden will go out of his way to distinguish himself from the Obama administration in areas such as the use of drones, but I think those are by exception. This will look very much like, in my estimation, what we saw under President Obama, and for that matter, under President Clinton as well.
And globally, how do you think that the world is looking at these US elections and in the limbo that we're in right now?
Well, this certainly would be easier if we only had one person running. And in a one-party rule country, that's what you have in these types of elections. One person, and that's all they get as a choice. This is a great choice for the American people. Unfortunately, it has become too divisive in terms of what these two people stand for. But I would much rather have two running than just one running.
Indeed. Mark Kimmitt, always a pleasure to have you here in the studio and to get your analysis on global policy. Thank you.